like to call this meeting of Palmyra Borough Council to order. Everyone please rise for Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence for the armed services.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brandon, may we please have roll call?
Counselor Andrews,
Present.
Counselor Catalani,
Here.
Counselor Flegel,
Here.
Counselor Coroli,
Here.
Counselor Touche,
Here.
Counselor Shear,
Here.
Mayor Carpenter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Just a reminder to all council members to please make sure your microphones are on. And also to everyone, please silence all cellular devices during the meeting. Thank you. No special visitors scheduled, which takes us to public comment period number 1. Please state your name and address for the record. Please come up to the podium and speak into the microphone. State your name and address for the record and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Okay. Why, hello, council. My name is Thomas Miller, 306 West Walnut Street in Palmyra. Nice to see you again, Mayor, and to the panel, and I like your glasses, by the way. So, listen, I have no intention of running for the panel, so I want to let everybody to know that. But there's a reason why. Because I found out about someone who is running for this panel, who has been in this panel before, on the council, I shouldn't say panel, but council, and also has been on other councils within this borough. And I would, if I was in your position, there was no question in my mind that Joe Templin would definitely be a choice that I would make. So that's why I came up. I just want to let you know that if you don't know, an excellent person's running for the council. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Gregory, 233 East Hazel Street. The Fireman's Park gazebo, where all the people paid money to have their names engraved in the bricks and that, it needs sprayed. The weeds and stuff are terrible. I mean, there was some good money put in that gazebo, and I'd like to see it kept up so it doesn't look trashy. Also, the flags, the armed services flags, they need repaired. And one of the lamps on the post that shines up in the American flag is broke off. I don't know if you're aware of it. There's one remaining. The one on the north side is snapped off. So, and as far as the stuff in the gazebo, I have no idea is the borough in charge of that? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Well, you just saved me something that I was gonna bring up tonight about the weeds, but thank you.
Thank you. I have a question about the light. I thought the lights that were on the flags were
Yeah.
level with the ground. When did we put ones that were above ground over there?
Different flag, I'm talking the American flag.
Oh.
There's two floodlights that shine up on it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, never mind. I understand now which ones. Anybody else? Okay. 1 second. All right, that takes us to the council vacancy. At this time, we're going to interview each candidate interested in filling the borough council vacancy. So are we just gonna have them step up to the microphone?
I guess so this time, since we have.
Last time I think we asked, we can't make,
Right.
we have two, and you can't make somebody leave the room, but,
Did you ask if anybody else in the audience
oh,
is
no, I'm
interested?
sorry, I wasn't doing that, I just said,
Yeah.
are we gonna ask if they
We
would?
know of two, but there's other people
Right.
here that may be interested.
Right. I was just asking about
Yeah.
the microphone and how we would proceed
Yeah.
once we get past that point.
So,
All right. Is there anybody else interested at this point? Okay. Okay, so we have 3 interested at this point that we know of now, correct? Okay. All right. So, who wants to go first?
Do every day.
Do you wanna ask if the others will leave?
Can we do that or no?
You can
You
ask, but
can
you can't
ask, but you
enforce it.
can't make them.
Right, so
However you feel.
it's, as Jane said, we can't force you to leave the room, but if you would like to leave the room and step outside while we interview each candidate. Okay, what we'll do is we'll ask one at a time to come up to the podium, we'll ask you our questions, and then we'll have you go back to your seat.
go in alphabetical order.
Okay. So, I guess we'll start with names first. So we have.
Marcus Rydell.
We have. Can you state your name? Okay. And last but not least.
Joe Templin.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go in alphabetical order, which means, Mr. Bickle, you are up first. Yes, please. Do we have him state name and address again? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so state your name and address, please.
Your name and address.
Your name and
Oh.
address.
Brad Bickle, 624 East Oak.
Okay. Okay. Who has questions? Anybody?
I have questions, but I'll wait till then,
Okay.
I
because I have a lot.
would like to know what you think the number one issue of this borough is.
The number one issue?
Yes.
Every time it rains, this place floods. I don't know what we can do about it, but that's the number one issue we have, I see as.
Thank you. That was really the only question I was going to answer, but
Okay.
I might amend it then.
I got a question. So what sparked an interest in you wanting to have interest in joining the Borough Council?
Well, I'm sure you've seen me around for
Right.
quite some time. It's available, and I own property in the borough, so I have a vested interest in what's going on. You've already elected me to the planning committee. It's nice to have a say. Have an opinion, might not agree with it all the time, but I don't expect everybody to agree with me either. I think it's, yeah,
Okay.
kind of a civic duty.
And why do you feel like you're the best candidate for this open vacancy?
Difficult to answer. I don't know the other two gentlemen.
Excuse me?
I don't know the other two
Right.
people, so it's
I'm-
really difficult for me to say that I'm better than them.
No, well, just personally, why do you feel you're the best candidate for this opening? It has nothing to do with them.
Well, it does, if you're asking me why I'm better than them. That's,
I promise you it doesn't. I do this I do this every day for a living. Trust me. I'm just looking to see why you feel yourself is the best candidate.
I look at decision-making from a very analytical and down-to-earth, what's the word I'm looking for, darn it? Logical point of view, generally speaking. That I like to know the facts both sides. There's always facts from all different angles. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I'll let someone else go.
I have a question. If you are elected for this position, are you still going to keep the position on the planning commission?
Well, yeah, so I would serve that. I also put a cost savings in because you already have a little plaque with my name on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think the greatest strengths of the borough are?
Probably the people, I think. Yeah.
How would you like Palmyra Borough to look in 5 years?
Well, hopefully, we could polish it a little bit. I know that that's a major point of Anthony's to, and I think everybody would like a nicer looking community. We can do things, I guess. It's difficult to do. I know everybody's like, well, Hershey has this and Anvil has that, but when Palmyra was laid out, it wasn't laid out the way they were laid out. So it's really tough to do what they've done. So we kind of have to find our own way. Again, I don't know what the answer to that is. I've heard talks of banners maybe on Main Street, like similar to the Christmas decorations. That has its advantages. You don't require a whole lot of maintenance. Maybe change them seasonally. I'm sure there's costs associated with that as well, though. And that cost is generally a bigger drive on everything. It would be great if we could do something to encourage property owners to have more pride and ownership. Don't have the solution to that either, but
Yeah.
probably could throw out some ideas.
I got a question. So, you're on the planning commission, you have some experience with that. What other type of experience do you have being on the boards of other types of areas, if it has to do with school or county or anything? Just what other types besides the planning commission?
Well, I don't really have any, because most of the people sitting up here in front of me didn't come into this with experience.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah,
You did? What were you on?
I'm on the Young Republicans.
Okay.
I'm the chairman. It's a big obligation. I'm on the executive committee, and also through school and college growing up, I was on committees there too. It doesn't have to be big or small. It's just a question. There's no right or wrong answer for anything. It's just a question to get to know you, so we can know what the best is. Because there's 3 candidates, so if we don't ask questions, we're not going to know.
You're right.
So don't take this as like there's right or wrong. Okay. Yeah. Does anyone else have any other question?
Other than stormwater, sinkhole issues, what do you see as another major issue within the borough?
It could be the pride and ownership and or lack thereof in some places, so that would go along with, I guess, the making it look a little nicer.
Pride and ownership. Oh. Thank you, sorry.
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Bickle?
I guess just one last one, just another stance. So like every year, we have to make probably one of the biggest decisions, and that's always tax season. It's never easy, and I always enjoy the debates and everything from everyone up here. And you've been here, you've sat in the meetings. If not, you've seen them on YouTube, or you can, see them online, you can read the scripts. What's your kind of overlook or kind of feedback from kind of witnessing some of that, and also living in the borough? How do you feel that, the borough is one of the highest taxes in Lebanon County?
Well, I mean, if it is the highest, I'm not certain of that. I don't really worry about other areas. I think it's important, and it's important that we don't continually not raise taxes, because all that does is, in my opinion, lead to a much larger hike at some point down the road. So if we keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, you get hit hard later. I would personally rather see smaller increments regularly, where it's more easily to absorb that by anybody, I mean, at any income level, than it is to take a huge hit 5 years down the road or every 5 years. We have, I hear that, or I know that the police contract, that goes annually, that increases, so our expenses grow annually. And as the population grows, your expenses don't get lesser. Yeah, you get more taxes, but you also have more roads to take care of. Your infrastructure takes a harder hit. So you kind of got to come up with, I think, a program that, or a plan that keeps things moving gradually rather than just a big gut punch in 5 years.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and that's always the tough decision here, but also keep in mind of the borough and the medium income house is 55,000, and we have a lot more in the demographic and the age, so you got to keep in mind all of that when you make these decisions. But no, thank you for your response. That's all.
Anything else from anybody?
What do you do for work?
I'm an estimator for a fire and water damage restoration company.
Medium, oh,
I was like,
good catch. But
sorry.
You.
Am I dismissed?
You're good. Thank you.
You ready for the other one?
Yeah, can you
I
just
just have to
write down?
clarify that.
no, no, you're good.
It was like,
He took advantage of the nice weather. I said he took advantage of the nice weather.
It's hot.
Mr. Rydell, you are up.
Thanks, Roger.
You could please start with stating your name and address for
I was
us.
like,
Marcus Rydell, 625 North Railroad Street, Palmyra.
All right, who would like to start with Mr. Rydell?
what do you see as the number one issue in this borough?
Number one issue in the borough right now that I'm seeing is we need some blight removal. We need some work with some DCD grants to help improve downtown Palmyra.
Thank you.
all right. I'm in. What sparked your interest in wanting to join the Borough Council? And in all due respect, we all live here in the borough, so but what sparked that interest? Like for me, it was besides myself living here. I have a vested interest, and I have a little boy, and so forth. But what sparked your interest?
So what sparked my interest in running for Borough Council is I want to help improve our borough. I want to be here for the residents of the borough, which is what being a Borough Council member is. You're that last check and balance of our residents to make sure that their best interest is being looked after. I've lived here for about 2 years now, and like I just said to Councilmember Caroli, I see some improvement we can do in downtown and bring more business and more visitors into downtown. So that would help bring in our economy a little bit better within the borough. So my main point, I got 2 young children, as you know, we enjoy the parks, we enjoy going outside. I want to make sure everything is best for the kids in the borough and also for the adults, make sure that they're being looked after.
And what other experience do you have? You have interest in here enjoying this vacancy. I appreciate that. But what other experience do you have in being parts of like board experience? If it's planning, zoning, anything to those degree.
So I had previously served on a borough council in Schuylkill County up in Tower City. I was actually I was the roads manager pretty much, not an official road supervisor like Mr. Powell, but I was in charge of roads and highways in the borough. I was also in charge with purchasing new equipment for the borough. Borough's much smaller than this, so money's very tight, so I worked hard on planning with getting grants for the borough, making sure the money was there. They unfortunately didn't have as nice as coffers as we do down here, so it was a little bit tighter. I also do a lot of work with our legislators. I'm actually friends with a lot of our legislators in Harrisburg. I have a lot of connections down there. I've done a lot of stuff for the volunteer fire companies throughout Pennsylvania to try to get more money into our volunteers. So a lot of my interest, it's been in politics. I have been working with legislators, continue to work with legislators on helping out different ideas in Pennsylvania to improve our Commonwealth.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask, so you were on Borough Council?
Yes.
But yet you managed roads and highways?
So I was the chair of roads and highways.
Okay.
So it's a
That-
5-panel
okay.
board up there. So everybody has their own section. Like one person was Parks and Recreation, the other
That
one was
used to be
Roads and
like
Highway.
that years ago here, but,
Yeah.
so there was a borough manager there?
No,
Oh, okay.
I pretty much, I
Okay.
took charge of the employees that worked on roads and highways.
That's
as
where
a
I was
council
trying to
member.
get at, because
The smaller borough.
yes.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, if you had a borough manager, that's the stuff they should be doing, but now I understand, thank you.
In your opinion, what is the greatest strengths of the borough?
The greatest strengths in the borough I've noticed here is our community strength. Everybody's very friendly, everybody's very outgoing. It seems like when something's happening, everybody wants to pitch in. I've seen a few things, with my neighbors, especially when I first moved down here. I didn't know a soul 2 years ago. Now I pretty much know my whole block. They introduced themselves. You need something, your neighbor's there for you, and that's one of the greatest things I like about down here. That's why I'm planning on retiring here.
How would you like the borough to look in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would love to see Main Street redeveloped. Obviously, as if was on council and the resident, would love to see taxes lower in a way to try to benefit our community, make the economy come out a little stronger. I've noticed that Chief Winters and our mayor have done a great job in the police work in our borough, that crime has dropped severely over the past couple of years.
Other than the blight removal, what do you see as another major issue in the borough?
Even before moving down here, sinkholes. There is a major geological aspect that the council needs to always be mindful of. There could be a major sinkhole that could happen that could actually cause an emergency within the borough. One thing to always be prepared of. That's one of the other major concerns within this area.
What's your current occupation?
I'm safety manager out of Freeburg Chicken in Fredericksburg.
I got a question. So you mentioned it, and I want to kind of elaborate on it. Every year we have tough decisions and tough debates that we have, all to do with taxes. You've sat in a lot of meetings. We've seen you. Appreciate that. What's kind of your kind of feedback when it has to do with that, being a resident and kind of, feeling that impact and really your response?
One of the things would be, because obviously I wasn't privy to the entire budget, is making sure there's not frivolous spending. The council is the last check for our residents, make sure that items like that's going on in Ohio doesn't happen, where the borough's now cities in $2 million in debt. You want to make sure everything, the check and balances are running correctly. You don't want the frivolous spending, but you want to maintain your economy and your infrastructure of the borough. You want to make sure your streets are taken care of. You want to make sure the town is good to bring more visitors in, especially from, we kind of piggyback off of Hershey, making sure we're still getting them in and possibly bringing new business by, making sure our taxes aren't going out the roof.
And why do you feel like you're the best candidate for this open vacancy?
I had the previous borough, and like others probably, they have previous borough experience, but I had that background experience. I also have a good connection within Harrisburg, within our legislators on both sides of the aisle. Work quite heavily with them. I'm new to the area, so I'm bringing in new eyes. I'm seeing things differently than what's, no offense to anybody that's lived here their entire life. I can see some different ideas and maybe possibly bring in some different ideas.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
No,
Anything?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Good, yep, sorry.
All right, you may
Thank
have a
you.
seat. Thank you. Mr. Templin, you are up.
Don't start singing, Joe.
Joe Templin, 143 North Chestnut Street, Palmyra.
Tell him. Thank you.
Okay. What's your number one issue in the borough?
Number one issue would be trash. Junk cars, trash, everywhere.
Thank you.
Rundown properties. What do I see driving around here?
What are the greatest strengths of the borough?
Pardon me?
What are the greatest strengths of the borough?
Well, there's a lot, you know. Like I served on the board, on the Borough Council 8 years. Had a lot of fun, But there's a lot of issues out there that need addressed, that are skipped over, looked over, put on the back burner. And it just accumulates till, I don't know. It's awful. It's awful. I know there's only so much you can do, but the longer it goes on, the worse it gets.
Look at our neighborhood.
Huh?
Look at our neighborhood.
Yeah.
How would you like the borough to look in 5 years?
Well, like I say, the biggest issue would be to get some of this properties cleaned up, presentable anyways. It seems like you go past a house today and 2 weeks down the road, you can't get in the front door for trash piled on the porch. Like I say, I'm sure the chief knows you can only do so much. That'd be the biggest issue in this borough that I see. I could call in every day when I drive around here, but I don't bug them.
I got a question here. So, as you mentioned, you served for 8 years. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. But what now has sparked your interest in wanting to, return to council and showing interest in that? And then it's a two-part question. And then what, during your term, your 8 years, was there any type of thing that came about for you not wanting to maybe run for re-election during that time period?
Well, that part of the question, I just gave it up. I just said 8 years, let somebody else do it. First part of the question is, I probably had a lot of pressure, put it to you bluntly, to come back on.
Okay. A lot of pressure from just like family, community for certain things of like things that aren't going correctly. If you can elaborate, if not, I understand.
Yes, that has a lot to do with it, We got a lot straightened out in my 8 years that we were on the board here, on the
I should have never gave it up, but I did. You know, 8 years is a long time.
Yeah, it's long.
Now you got all new members up there.
I'm old.
So am I.
Oh, my.
You're not as old as I am, Fred. Come on.
51 years.
Well, why do you feel then, you know, your experience, 8 years here, and if you have other types of experience, please, you know, share with us. But why do you feel like you're the best candidate for this open vacancy here, besides the fact that, you know, you have served here on council?
Well, I didn't say I was the best candidate.
It's just a
I'm
question.
just one of them.
It's just a question. We're not comparing to anyone, it's just a question. I actually ask this question every day, believe it or not.
Well, the best answer to that would be I have 8 years' experience sitting in that chair.
Okay?
Plus, I'm on the planning commission. And I get around town every day. Like I said, I could report in every day to these two, but I don't. That's the biggest thing, I guess, is I served 8 years in this borough. Never got thrown out yet, so I did something right.
I don't know, I know some of you know Pat Hennessy. Pat Hennessy and I, we can ask Roger and Brenda, used to drive around the borough during the daytime,
I think I still have the CD someplace.
taking pictures of all the trash. And that is one, I have to agree with him, that is one of our main objects in this borough, the people that are throwing their trash out.
I have a question for you. Other than the trash, the junk cars, the rundown properties, what do you see as another major issue in the borough?
Well, you could say, oh, man. Not too much, other than the rundown properties, you know what I'm saying? They're, as far as Main Street, what are you gonna do with Main Street? You know, over my 8 years, it's hard to get the public to work with you. It's hard to get anybody to work with you in here. They don't wanna be involved with it. So you're more or less on your own. If you wanna fix something up or do something, you gotta do it on your own, the way I see it.
Yeah, I got a question, if that's okay. So, I mentioned this question to the other two candidates, and I want to mention it to you as well. Every year, we have a big decision to make, as well as other decisions we have to make, as you know. And that's tax season. And you've sat up here, and so you're well familiar with what goes into that. So now, also having experience sitting up here and also sitting out there, what's kind of your feedback and what's kind of your mindset with that? Because that's such a big moment, it sometimes takes a little bit when we have those debates and looking through things.
Well, sitting up there is only because they're sitting back here, but the hardest thing sitting up there in my 8 years was raising taxes. Nobody wants to hear that. And I know you have to, you can't lag behind, because that was one of the problems, they were behind here in raising taxes. Trying to get caught up, that's the hardest part. Where you make $1, where you have $1. But that would be the biggest thing.
Thank you.
You good, Anthony? I have another quick question while you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something.
What are your thoughts on stormwater management? Is it an issue in here, in this borough?
No, I don't think there's an issue here. I think it's pretty well covered. We did pretty much on 8 years of getting rid of that, but sure, you're gonna have flooding. I mean, everybody has that. But all that rain, did you take notice down there to the McDonald's there? Not a drop of water in that basin.
Used to be full.
Yeah. Used to overflow.
Yeah.
Yeah, overflowing, remember that. So something was done right there.
You mentioned that one of the things that sparked your interest in coming back was feeling pressure, family, friends, whatnot. That pressure, you know, we've asked questions here about what are some of the main reasons you feel like in the borough, but my question more or less is more about that pressure that you felt, or pressure I like to look at as positivity of people trying to show you of, hey, we need you type of thing. So what is that one thing that motivated you to get out of bed where you're like, you know what, I'm doing this type of thing?
One thing. I probably have to say experience, 8 years sitting up here. I know what you go through. I know what you're gonna go through.
Like a certain topic, or was it more just that? I'm just trying to pinpoint just for my own clarity.
What was your question?
So they were all asking, and then my question kind of goes off of that to a point of mine is more or less more about what kind of got you out of bed where other people have been reaching out to you and saying, hey, you should put your name in the hat. So what was that? Was it that people were saying, hey, the taxes, or people were saying, hey, the trash, or people were saying, hey, this? What is those things that really got you now in this borough office putting your name in the hat, would you say, besides your experience?
I would have to say experience and walking into Turkey Hill, getting coffee and hearing the people bitching about taxes.
Yeah, thank you.
Go anywhere for that.
No, thank
Straight
you.
from his mouth.
And groceries and electric bills and everything else too.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Templin?
No, thank you.
I'm good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll talk about it.
I was just wondering, can we,
You could have an open discussion, you could just put motions on the floor for the resolution.
You can't have a private discussion.
Nope.
No.
Hey, just ask.
Sorry.
No. I say we can have open discussion, whatever everyone here thinks. That way we can at least know what everyone's feeling.
Well,
That's fine.
I'll just make a motion.
yeah,
I would like to nominate Joe Templin.
I'll second that motion.
I like to make a,
Hold on. You gotta hold that thought, because we have an open motion. That's only why.
sure, sorry,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have an open motion.
Do you want a roll call?
Yes.
Okay.
When we're done with that one, then you can make your motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the motion on the table is to appoint Joe Templin as a member of Borough Council. If you vote yes on this motion, you are voting to put Joe in, or fill the vacancy with Joe Templin.
Do,
Correct?
can he nominate his first also, or do we have to do it?
I think you have to call the vote first.
If this
Whoever goes
fails, then,
first, yeah.
if this fails,
Okay,
then they're,
okay.
if it passes, then you're
Got
done.
it, okay.
So we had nobody wants to have any conversations? Everyone's fine with no conversations, then it is what it is.
Is there, am I kind of just from my own understanding, Anthony, are you and Marcus, prior friends at all?
No.
Okay. And Brad and Nancy, are you guys somewhat of a relation as well?
That's my son-in-law.
Okay, for my own, yeah.
Welcome to small town.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anyone else want to have a debate or talk about about the candidates that you have questions of? Or is everyone pretty much have their mind made up?
I think all three candidates have very similar ideas, very similar thought process as far as how they want the town to move forward.
Yeah.
I find that very difficult because they're all very, very similar.
I agree.
I'll be honest with you, the thing that got me is Joe's experience on this borough council, nothing against Marcus. I know you have, I read your letter, which was very well done, but it's a little different because of the size. And he's actually had 8 years of budget reviews, and that's my main focus. I'd like to have somebody hit the ground running, and
Yeah, no, I think the biggest question I always get in my line of work is that how are you gonna get the experience if you're not given the opportunity, you know? And so I get you wanna hit the ground running, and what I tell all the hiring managers are, you're not gonna find sometimes that golden goose egg, and sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't.
True.
But at the same point, if, you know, we have an opportunity where we can kind of nurture someone and give them that experience, and maybe they can grow and develop and really come into being very strong, then that's something that you need to look at too. There's always, you know, I think experience is great, and that's why it is a tough decision. But I think that I think it's a tough decision no matter what way you go. But at the same point, I think sometimes that, like for me, for instance, you know, having someone on the council with like my background and just, you know, having a little boy, that brings different type of experience, knowledge than sometimes maybe we had, you know, and so that was nice. And so trying to look at it from that standpoint of bringing different types of mindsets onto council who think differently to a degree, but at the end of the day have the same goal, like you said, of trying to make the borough better, which I think is important. So, I mean, tough decision, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, of course, however the vote goes, however the vote goes, of course. But I think that's just something that we need to keep in our minds, that I don't think, you know, in a lot of ways we won't go wrong, but at the same point, I always try to look at it more long-term, if that makes sense, and more of like a...
You know, there's one question that we didn't ask any of them tonight.
What's that?
If you do not get this position, would you be interested in a appointed position on council?
vacancy. We don't have any vacancies right now, do we? Yeah, that's
No,
why.
No, we don't have...
But we always
We
ask
always
that.
have, but we've always had vacancies on sometimes, mainly the vacancy board. But we have that filled now.
We don't have any
But yes,
vacancies
you're right,
now.
Mayor.
We always ask them that question.
Yes. You are right. We have.
At this point, we've got 3 good candidates, which makes it tough. However, we also have an election coming up in,
Next spring.
Next year.
Primary.
Yeah.
Next year.
so,
General in
So
November.
February
you know,
starts.
whoever does not make it, I do hope that we see your names on the ballots next year. Because as Anthony put it when he was asking questions, it's nothing personal to any of you if we don't pick you. It's just that we have 30 days to put somebody into a spot that was vacated, and we need the best fit for who's up here right now to make it work the best for the borough at this point. I think I can speak for everybody when I say we appreciate all three of you coming out tonight and giving us your time and answering our questions. And whoever makes it up here to that seat is gonna realize that it's not always an easy job sitting up here. You know that. And it's a thankless job most of the time, but it is what it is. So, with that being said, we still have a motion on the floor that's open. So, yes, I would like roll call, please.
A roll call vote? Okay.
Yes.
Again, the motion on the table is to appoint Joe Templin to the vacated seat. Counselor Andrews?
No.
Counselor Catalani?
No.
Counselor Flegel?
No.
Counselor Coroli?
Yes.
Counselor Touche?
No.
Counselor Shear?
Yes.
The motion is defeated, 4-2.
I'd like to make a motion, put Marcus Riddle, nominate him. Do I have a second? That's so sad. Just kidding.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Didn't realize I needed to tell you that.
Okay. The motion on the table is to appoint Marcus, is it? Rydell? Okay, thank you. To the vacancy. If you vote yes, you will be appointing Mr. Rydell. Counselor Andrews?
Yes.
Counselor Catalani?
Yes.
Counselor Flegel?
No.
Counselor Coroli?
Yes.
Counselor Touche?
Yes.
Counselor Shear?
No.
The motion is approved, 4-2. Mr. Rydell, you have been appointed to the vacancy. Are you ready to take the oath?
Yes. And you do it so well.
Who's taking the picture?
Do you take like a class or a certificate or you?
Did you just swear him in?
Like every year you have to renew it?
Or she did?
Gotcha. That comes in handy. Yeah. Should be one. There should be one.
Fred, do you want me to do this?
I can't talk right.
Okay. I, Marcus Rydell. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support, obey, and defend. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
Okay. All right, does Borough Council want or need a council representative on the Planning Commission?
Currently, you do not have a council rep.
And we always have, right?
You can have up to two.
Yeah, I think we should.
We asked the borough solicitor, Bill Garber is an employee now, but he can still serve in that capacity. However, now that if you want a member, then his term would be vacated and you'd have to appoint one of yourselves to fill that role.
I like having him on there. My only thing is that it's been a tradition that someone from council has always been on there. So I like to keep it that way, and I don't want to change that. That's my opinion.
Have we always had somebody on council?
Yeah, we've had two members already
Okay.
at one point.
Sorry, I pay attention to my committees.
So he couldn't stay on though?
He can stay on unless you want a council rep on, then
Right,
he
then
has
he
to
has to
vacate.
Because you already got two from the Pope. Okay, gotcha, all right.
Unless somebody else wants it, I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah, that works with me.
Anybody opposed to that idea?
No.
Okay, you got it.
I'll make the motion,
I'll second it, that's right, sorry.
and we'll use Matthew.
All those in favor? Aye.
Who was the second?
Beth.
Okay, thank you. And thank Bill for.
Opposed?
Sorry.
Opposed? Okay.
And please thank Bill for his time on.
He's watching.
Hi, Bill. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Consent calendar, approve the minutes of the March 26th, 2024 Borough Council meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
And the treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report with that?
Oh, am I? Well, how did I get a March 26th?
The meeting.
Those are the minutes. Never mind, sorry. I'm like looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, what the heck? Sorry. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank-
Opposed? Okay, action and discussion items. Ordinance 829, amend Chapter 350 Vehicles and Traffic. Discussion on and if appropriate. Suggested motion to enact ordinance number 829, an ordinance amending the following provisions of Chapter 350 Vehicles and Traffic of the Palmyra Borough Code of Ordinances. Section 350-26, Special Purpose Parking Zones, adding 4 handicap parking, and removing 1. I have a question for the West Cherry Street north side for 209 West Cherry Street. Did we only add 1 spot previously? That we're adding a spot?
I think there's only one spot there.
No, there's 2.
There is two.
Right across the
They
street.
they were probably added at different points then.
Because they both were added at the same time.
They were.
That's why I'm wondering why it's on here. I thought we already did it.
Is that right across the street from you?
We might be catching up.
They both were put at the same time.
Same time.
So I'm wondering why it's on here as 1.
Oh, so they've been done for a while?
They've been done for at least over a month.
Were they?
Well, if the original application was for 2, and then we were told to remove them, I would think it would be for both as well.
No, this is an ad. This is an ad. But
Did
it's,
we by any chance paint before we?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we always install these
Yeah,
before we act.
yes.
Yeah.
there's 2 spots and there's only 1 on here.
Well, the other one might have been added. Earlier ordinance.
Yeah,
That's done, okay. Can we check on that? Make sure we've got for both.
Yep.
Please. Okay, so do we have a motion for the 4
There's-
additions and 1 removal?
There's,
No, that's a different section.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then section 350-10, one-way highways established, remove unnamed alley located along Borough Line in Kensington Heights from East Maple Street and East Oak Street southbound. Telling you, it's been a week already. Telling you, it's only Tuesday.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Resolution 2024-12, approve the 2023 Lebanon County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to approve Resolution 2024-12, a resolution approving the 2023 Lebanon County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Were you able to get some feedback, or?
yeah, Joe's already worked the resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks good.
Where do I?
There it is. That's right. Close.
I'm actually, I'll be honest with you, I still don't like it, but I understand it has to be done. And the way she has it worded here, I actually like the wording of this, so. Not making the motion though, sorry. Still don't like the whole thing.
I know I'm new, but I spoke last meeting about this. I've read over this thing at least a dozen times now. And there's some good points and there's, like Counselor Crowley says, and there's some bad points. One thing I did notice in here, they skim over sinkholes. It's just like one little blurb and that's it. They really don't cover that, so if we would have a major incident, how well will this cover us?
Doesn't cover nothing. My in-laws lost their house.
No, we're talking about, this is the county disaster plan, but it's PEMA?
FEMA, and
Yeah. This makes us eligible for
Yes.
federal funding
Yes.
in a disaster.
Yeah. So if we have a disaster, we can apply for the funding.
Yes.
Yeah.
we've tried already.
It don't
We actually turned them down because of all the stipulations that they put on the money.
That was for Cherry.
That was
Street.
Cherry Street.
Yeah,
It took us over a year,
yeah.
and then they promised us, how many, $2 million, and then
Started at 2 million.
it whittled down to 200,000.
Right, I
Yeah,
remember that.
I remember that.
Yep, so do I.
So sinkholes are kind of on your own.
right,
Thank God for sinkhole insurance.
there's a such thing. There is a such thing.
Oh, yeah.
Call your State Farm agent, we'll put it on the rider immediately. We have to accept it. The county already accepted it.
There's
We're
no
not
way
gonna change
around
it.
it.
We wrote our names, we put our information into this saying, we don't like it, but guess what? The world we live in,
You have to
there's a
have it.
group that has already come up with their own line, and we're going to have to eat it.
Yeah, I just still do worry that somebody in the future could say, oh, that disaster was man-made and not get us covered. That's my,
Act of God, yeah, all those.
well, acts of God are covered. It's the climate change, man-made issues that
Right.
bothers me.
It's the,
So,
it's the
but I
political stuff.
I do like the way that Joselle worded this. I thought it was well done,
Yeah,
so,
She told me she wanted to make it clear that Borough Council
Yes.
was approving the
Yes.
plan, and this is
Yes.
what you were.
I don't
proposing.
know how much teeth that gives us if we have to fight for something, but I do like the, yeah.
And to
I
a
mean, what are you
safe-
gonna do, fight the state and the federal government?
Same teeth that got you the 2 million.
Hey, we
for
got
the
it.
state.
Yeah,
Be the
right.
exact same situation again.
right.
So now, if we approve this, then it still goes, then we'll see if it, the county takes it on.
The county already approved it, yeah.
Yeah, we're,
It's a moot point, doesn't matter what
County
we
Yeah.
say.
commissioners have approved it.
No, with our changing the language right there.
Well, they're not
Well,
gonna change it.
yeah, they're not,
No, I
not
know,
gonna,
because South Londonderry did theirs.
yeah, but they're not changing it for South Londonderry either.
they don't care what we
It's
say.
just
So
the
we can go on
municipality
record.
going on
Yeah.
record saying
No,
this
right.
is part we don't like. Again, not sure what it's gonna do, nothing in the future if something happens, but at least
Something at least
we're
would be-
voicing our opinions.
Yeah, at least we'll be on record. That helps, okay.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, East Ridge Road, Melrose Developer Agreements. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to authorize the Borough Council President to execute sewer extension agreement, land development agreement, and stormwater management agreement with Milford Heights LLC for the East Ridge Road, Melrose Phase 1 Final Subdivision and Land Development Plan.
This was fun reading, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Me. Right. Personnel, Public Works Department, retain full-time employee. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to officially remove Elijah J. McFarlane from probationary status effective March 25th, 2024, and to retain him as a permanent full-time employee for the Public Works Department.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a question. Has he finished his CDL?
He's there right now.
and I texted him last night, and he drove the big rig for the first time
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay, thank you.
Nice. And are we close to being fully staffed yet, would you say?
We're still one person short, but I don't think we're 100% sure which direction we want to go.
Either part-time or?
Not full-time, one
Has to be
full-time
full-time.
position. Yeah.
Okay. Do they need it, are we thinking of like a CDL driver or no?
Well, that's a minimum requirement.
Don't you do it. Okay, ordinance number 830, amend chapter 314, streets and sidewalks specifications. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to authorize the borough solicitor to prepare and advertise ordinance number 830, an ordinance to amend chapter 314, streets and sidewalks of the Palmyra Code of Ordinances to update the stone specifications and to add a penalty provision for non-compliance. Questions?
Well, prepare and advertise? Aren't we gonna see the ordinance before?
Yeah, you can just prepare it.
Okay, so.
It's up to
because-
you.
Well, you know how much I love reading this stuff, and I'm not sure how. But usually we get she prepares, we see, and then we,
True. Sometimes you see it kind of like a draft in
right,
advance,
yeah.
and then you prepare and advertise.
so
at the same time.
I will make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I do read these things, and it is a knowledge, it's a learning experience.
Road closure request, complete auto repair car show. Discussion on and if appropriate. Suggested motion to authorize the closure of South Locust Street between West Main Street and South Avenue for a classic car show to be hosted by Complete Auto Repair LLC from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, April 20th, 2024. Chief, any issues with that?
And they did this last year, right?
Yeah, they've done it the last 2 years.
And it's just that little half block, so, yeah,
And that's not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
yes, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agreement, sinkhole damage, sidewalk repair, 34 South Harrison Street. Discussion on, and if appropriate, to approve the reimbursement agreement between the borough and the private property owners of 34 South Harrison Street, Alexander and Carly Gensimer, to enable the Palmyra Public Works Department to enter onto the private property and remove and replace sidewalk that was undermined and damaged by a sinkhole that occurred within the public right-of-way of South Harrison Street. Property owners shall reimburse the borough for the cost of materials used for the job within 30 days of the borough issuing an invoice.
Background on this is Codes Officer Garber visited the property, saw the status of the sidewalk, called the property owner and asked about the sidewalk, and the property owner said, well, I thought the borough was gonna take care of this when they fixed the rest of the sinkhole. So we had to kind of tweak our memories on that a little bit. I do remember having conversations with the property owner. We did replace a section of sidewalk on the west side of the street. There's a vacant lot there. We took care of that and billed the property owner. I'm not sure why we wouldn't have done it all at the same time, but it was damaged as a result of the sinkhole. So we've done this in the past where, you know, if curb and sidewalk are affected by it with the road and everything, it's just easier to take care of it all at one time and because it is all related, so. I don't think it's a problem. Our guys are more than capable of doing it, willing to do it, so it's just that we need the agreement to actually do it.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
do I have a second?
Second, oh, go ahead.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that takes us to the president's report. Don't think I have anything tonight. Can't think of anything. Takes us to the financial report. Everybody should have a financial statement financial statement as of March 31st, 2024 will be available at the next meeting. That takes us to the delinquent sewer and refuse account report.
Well, the report speaks for itself, but tomorrow, Stacy and I will be in court, Lebanon County Court of Common Pleas, for our most delinquent property, and we're pursuing a judgment so we can take it to a writ of certification. So hopefully we have a positive outcome from that hearing.
The longest delinquency or the highest?
The highest.
How much?
The longest was 38 years. We got that.
Yeah.
Every penny of it. You're welcome.
This isn't the same.
No.
I didn't
This is
think
a
so.
property on East Maple Street. Not yours.
That wouldn't look very good, would it?
Thank the girls as always for the report. Yes, it is going in the right direction, looks good.
Continues in the right direction.
Okay, fire department. The March fire report was emailed last week. And also the first quarter 2024 volunteer incentive plan report was emailed last week. Anything else for the fire department? Is it still over there? Okay, just checking. Anything?
The managers and some of the fire people met at North Londonderry Township to discuss the formation of this authority. And so they're still trying, since this has never been done before, so it was more of a conceptualize, like, how are we doing this? What kind of budget are you looking at? And I think the fire guys were just thinking they're gonna try to budget for just the people. But kind of the consensus of everybody in the room was, no, we think you better look at the big picture of the whole thing, find out what the total budget is and how it's gonna be shared. So the chiefs that were there are working diligently on that. It's gonna be a pretty big task, so I don't know how long it's gonna take them to put all those numbers together, because you got multiple fire departments to deal with. And the other problem is, they're all volunteer departments at this point, so nobody knows how you can force this on them if they don't accept it.
Right.
I mean, our situation here is, it's a volunteer fire department, but we're kind of funding the building.
Yeah.
They own the building, but we're paying for
Yeah.
it, so there might be more of a leverage factor there. But some of these other departments, Chief Dugan said he doesn't know if they'll accept this or not, and if they don't accept it, what do we do? Because that factors into the manning, the apparatus, the location of the other stations that are gonna be involved, so.
Now, are they looking at merging?
Apparently, the northern volunteer departments already have like a working agreement to work together, share resources, that
Northern
type of
Lebanon?
thing.
Or,
It's the northern part of the county. I don't know all the departments.
That's
There's like 4 or
57.
5 of them that are involved and form this thing. So now they want to bring Palmyra into that as well. And possibly Annville too, I think, as well. So they're looking to take on as many people as they can, really, because then you have the most resources to share over a broader area.
Well,
But-
and they all seem to back each other up.
They do.
Anyway, I mean, they back each other up when they have,
Often county doing
Events,
that right now.
yeah.
I'm just glad they're finally talking.
I know,
I'm just glad they're finally talking.
I know Palmyra, you know, if there's an accident up on 22, which is northern Lebanon's 57's territory, they're dispatched and vice versa. I've run fire for over 35 years, so I know the guys from the northern side of it. Yeah,
And I
work
know
very well.
they cover when they have events or if they have a major fire, then somebody goes and covers their station in case something else breaks out, so,
It also brings in a lot more money for
Anything
the
that-
fire companies, they do it too, they get better grant money.
so.
So then,
Guess
just
we
to remind, this is to
wait.
create a fire authority.
Yeah.
So you'd be paying, instead of, and that's the other thing, is how do you fund this thing?
Right.
So, because this wouldn't be tax-based, it's a fee. So how do you collect that fee from everybody?
So what would the,
involved?
yeah, I'm not sure that I quite understand this. So the fire authority is not like a municipal authority or a sewer authority.
Well, it would be
What
like-
what would we have to collect fees for?
It would be basically a
So-
municipal authority,
okay.
but it would be
So-
a fire and EMS authority.
So
They
we
would have to
would,
collect, they would send you a bill for their service.
on top of the fire tax we already have?
No.
Okay, instead of the fire
Instead
tax
of
we
the-
have?
Yes,
Okay, well then I, of course, wanna see numbers,
yes.
so.
That's what,
And that's what they're coming up with right
Yeah.
now.
So this would be a fee if you use it, or every resident?
everybody would
resident.
start,
Just
Everyone
fire
pitches in.
yeah.
Yeah, so instead of, okay, so we paid fire or fire service out of our general budget. And then last year or the year before, 2 years ago, we changed it and took it out of that and had a fire tax. Did not increase the tax, we just changed the name of it. So in this case, if this all goes through, that fire tax would go away, and then there would be a fee that every resident would get charged, or every taxpayer, however that works.
Yeah, commercial entities would
Yeah.
too. So, the only other example we have is Lancaster County. They formed just an ambulance authority, an EMS authority. That started out like 12 municipalities and it whittled down to like 3 or 4.
Okay, well,
So-
I remember, there's at least one, at least the city of Lebanon has a water, what was the municipal authority for the water?
Yeah.
The MS4, because they actually have a fee charged
Yes.
for that MS4.
Yes, some municipalities
Permitting.
created authorities for the
Yeah.
MS4 fee.
Which is why we started that, but luckily we didn't need it.
We don't need it yet, yeah. But some places have water authorities.
Yeah.
Instead
Sewer
of a-
authorities.
Instead of like, we have Pennsylvania American Water, so, but in lieu of that, it would be a water authority and a sewer authority if they're just in charge of the sewer plant, so. So this would just be a fire and EMS authority.
So no sense in getting all worked up about
No,
it
this is
until we
gonna-
see
it's gonna
something.
Take some time, yeah,
It's
and a lot
gonna
of
take
thought.
at least 2 years, minimum.
Okay. Anything else, Roger?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay. Police Department, Chief, Mayor.
Want to thank Roger and the chief. One of the gentlemen down at the coffee shop told me the other day that the traffic light at Lingle and 422 has been out for some time. He notified Roger to 2 days later, I got a phone call from the guy, and he goes, "Hey, Fred, thanks." I said, "Don't thank me." But, it worked.
Yeah, we were fortunate that CM High was able to take a look at that real quickly and fix it.
He said it's been off for months.
Wait a minute. The light at the intersection?
It's a street light.
Avenue.
Oh, street light.
I'm thinking traffic
like,
light,
wait
and
a
I'm
minute.
like,
I don't remember it being out.
has it been
Oh,
out?
sorry. Okay.
Thinking traffic lights.
I thought, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking traffic light
When
too,
you
and
say
I
a
was
light
like,
at Main and Lingle, I'm thinking of
Every
traffic
time I've gone
light.
through, it's been working.
And I'm going, wait a minute, I've been through that.
A lot of people are afraid to talk to people in council and tell them what's going on in town because they think we're gonna get back at them somehow.
Well, that's just foolish. We want to know what's going on.
Right.
How would we get back?
See, this is why we need pictures of, so they can see us and. Okay.
I have no problem. Somebody calls me all the time with stuff.
Now we know.
I'll tell you mine.
Chief?
I really don't have anything. I'm writing policy, doing paperwork, and Brenda's helping me a lot with other stuff.
What's that?
I said, you're helping a lot with other paperwork.
Oh, yes. Lots of paperwork right now.
That time of year. Okay. All right, Planning Commission did not meet in March. Next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, April 24th, beginning at 7 PM. Excuse me, that takes us to Public Works Department. Everybody should have the superintendent's monthly report in their packet. Any questions on that? No? Okay. Takes us to Borough Properties. Roger.
For the municipal building, the HVAC controls upgrade, we're just waiting for parts to arrive that they need to do the job, and then they'll get us on the schedule. So they didn't seem to think it would be much more than about another month or two, so we'll see. You might have noticed that the town square clock's been all goofed up with the time display. We weren't able to fix it. We weren't able to fix it with the phone conference with Verdun, the clock manufacturer, so they have a work ticket for having one of their technicians visit the site to try to repair it. And there's only like one or two of these guys that do like the whole East Coast, so I have not heard at all when it's gonna be, so that's why you see that it's indicating the wrong time.
So soon remind me of the one on Cumberland Street in Lebanon, in the city, that never changes. So,
And there was a request by our superintendent to replace the 8 additional lights at the square that shine up into the trees. We did the ones around the flagpole. We've never upgraded the other ones to LEDs. So we received a quote of $16,000, and the Bowman Trust is paying for that.
thank you.
Wonderful.
I don't think those lights have worked for a long time.
And LEDs will save on electric too.
Nothing new at the cemetery. Parks? Have anything with parks, do you? Refuse and recycling, I'm still working on the bid package for the new trash bid, so.
Did Waste Management get you the information
They
that
did, they had some
thought?
suggestions, yeah, so we'll incorporate them. They didn't have many, they had like 3 or 4.
It's okay, anything is good.
And it's basically stuff that they routinely run into, like problems they run into with like certain ways preparation of trash, you know. Our biggest problem with the trash program probably is people are they just put piles of stuff out. It's not prepared in any way, shape, or form proper. So the guys roll up and they're like, what do we take? You know, it's because it's just a mountain of stuff.
Well, I
So-
get that because as I said before, most of my street ends up in my front yard. So, I see that. So, but question then, would that actually be in the bid specs?
Well,
That's more education for our residents.
Well, if we bid it the way we have it now, it would have to be more education type of thing.
Okay.
And better communication between the hauler and the residents as well.
Okay.
But like, one of their suggestions was, the only thing they take is what's in a toter, that's it. No loose, no oversized items, no loose stuff, which,
But our residents are so used to having at least like one
and
oversized.
so we'd have to come up with a way, whether it's a special pickup date or something, like we do for white goods.
Right.
We'd have to do something for like oversized items or something, a couple times a year or something to help with that. Otherwise, I'm afraid that stuff's gonna pile up
Well, isn't it only one oversized item a week?
per week, yeah.
Yeah.
So we go to maybe just a couple a year, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know, that's,
But it's amazing. It's under 6
Oh.
feet and less than, 45 pounds.
But you see
But whole
sofas.
bedroom suits are,
Yeah.
sat out
Yeah.
at the garbage
Yeah.
with no large
Sofas,
item ticket.
mattresses,
Yeah. And the mattresses have to be,
yeah, bagged and,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
so,
the Waste Management is taking their model towards one driver, one truck, which
Right,
means
yes.
they're
We're
gonna have
gonna
the
have
trucks with the arm on the side, pick up the toter, dump it, and move on. They'll never get out of the truck. That's what they wanna see in the future, and they're saying that's the way the trash industry is moving.
Well, you do see it a lot.
But that makes it difficult to get
but I
rid of
don't-
some of this
yeah.
oddball stuff.
Well,
so-
and I don't know how we're gonna manage that with some of our properties,
Right.
so.
So my vision on that is it's probably gonna be, there'll be 3 different bids. Like, it'll be one bid package, but it'll be bid 3 different ways, just to see what kind of prices we're gonna get. Then we can make a decision.
Question, has anybody went up the alley between Chestnut and Lincoln and seen all the sofas and stuff that are sitting there?
I think Bill actually was just recently out, yeah,
We're gonna have
in
to
that
get-
area.
I'll break him in this summer.
Which, while you're on that subject, I just gotta throw it out there, and if Bill's watching, I mean, he's been a great addition to our staff. I mean, I don't think we could have found a better person for the job, so.
Is that
he's-
right?
Good.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, he's self-motivated to go out and look for the problems, he doesn't like idle time, so if he runs out of stuff to do,
Had a
he goes
lot
out
of
and looks
those
for
before
more,
you
so he's doing good, he's been a nice
Well,
addition.
I had no doubt about that, but
we've actually, very
still
fortunate.
don't like that.
We're actually very fortunate to have Michelle and him
Yes, and
that are,
they're working very well together as
yeah.
well.
Good.
It's a good
yeah,
team.
they've meshed very well.
Yeah.
Do they have their own vehicle yet?
Oh,
Wait, what?
We have one vehicle, they don't have
have-
their own vehicle.
I was gonna say, we have a borough vehicle.
You want another one?
A white Ford?
Ford pickup truck, yeah,
Oh, pickup,
yeah, the
okay.
small pickup, the Ranger.
You want a Corvette? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's better than the what Ford Focus we had at one
Yeah.
time, or whatever that was.
That's what it was.
That
yeah.
was a
Brenda's
Focus.
favorite car.
Okay, sewer system, for those of you that are familiar with our old wastewater treatment plant where the Public Works is, up in the back on the hill is a big stainless steel tank. It was called the equalization basin for when the plant was in operation. When the permit was changed from us going away from treatment to just conveying to North Londonderry, DEP wanted us to keep that EQ basin for overflow control. We've never needed it, ever, in the, how many years has it been? 10 years since,
At least.
we haven't put a drop of water up there. Scott said there's value in that tank to sell.
Is it metal?
I mean, other people, it's stainless steel, yeah.
Oh,
So, Ritu did some research, they got our old permits from DEP, and they have asked DEP for a meeting to start seeing how we can remove that from our permit. Hopefully, it's a simple process, but you never know with DEP, so we'll just see. But I wanted to let you know that it is in process, and hopefully we can get rid of that.
You'll have to change all the vehicles to electric.
Well, that's coming, yeah. Sinkholes, fortunately, with all this rain and the earthquake, we haven't had anything, so let's keep our hopes alive for that.
That's not wood.
this is
It
what.
is. It's fake wood. Stormwater management, the Phase A system, if you've been on Front Street lately, you see the progress Kinsley's making. They're expanding the detention basin on the south side. They have the pipes and the inlets in on Front Street, and they've been meeting with the railroad and with the boring company. I think within the next month, they're gonna be able to start actually boring under the railroad, so. And that has to, once that starts, it has to go 24/7, so that'll be interesting to,
Oh,
yeah, that's a railroad requirement. Once they start boring, it has to
oh.
cut, just go until they're finished, so. So that's progressing pretty good.
Really well. I'm still waiting to see that.
And the other our bioswale project on the west end, Mike Naus was in today. He said he talked to the contractor. They're planning on either the end of the month or the beginning of May to put the plantings in the swales. And then that'll finish up that project. Street and alley maintenance, there hasn't been a whole lot. The guys were working on the alleys, and we have one guy out on medical leave right now and one guy in CDL training. So we have Scott and one other right now for a couple of weeks. So we've just been doing minor tasks as we can, so.
So what, and forgive me, but what would be the alley north of Oak? I think it's Oak.
North of Oak.
North of Oak.
That's Apple, I think.
Plum.
Well, whatever it is, I keep hearing that it's in really bad
That's
shape.
cherry and maple.
I think it's,
Okay, then it's out, or peach.
But it's
Is that
north.
next to the ice cream place?
well, so I'm yeah, I said north of Oak, but now I'm debating because I wasn't told if it was north or south. I just assumed that it was behind somebody's house. So, well,
We did do some work on, I think it's the same alley from Railroad back behind your place. I think those guys, we did some work back there already.
Yeah, it looks good.
I'll find
So it
out
was
the
the
actual
100 and
place.
200 block.
All I hear about is the alley behind my house.
Do you know what block it is? Like, is it the 500 block, 400 block?
No, but I can find out.
Okay, that would be helpful.
You got peach and plum right there.
I'll find out.
Traffic signals, I was gonna report what the mayor already reported. There was a street light on top of the traffic signal poles at Main and Lingle. One of those lights was out for a while, so that got taken care of. So for Public Works wise, I think that's it.
Okay. Solicitor's report.
Nothing from her this time.
Okay, zoning and codes enforcement, we all have the monthly report in front of us. Any questions on that?
What's involved with the hearing of the snow and ice hearing? Is that like, what is that exactly, I guess?
Why did you write me a ticket? I didn't show up my walk.
Oh, that's what that is essentially? That's what the hearing is? It goes to a judge?
Oh,
Judge Carpenter?
yeah, he sits right there.
Judge Warner, yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the first stop.
That didn't
Yeah,
happen
there were
yet,
two.
did it?
There were two? Five, what did it say, five, sorry.
And that's for snow or ice that's not removed within 24 hours?
4 hours, yeah.
Okay.
Which is actually more like 48 by the time we get out.
Time we get to it,
and-
yeah.
and send the letters and do all that, so.
So you have enough time to shovel your walk. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and zoning hearing board, no hearings were conducted on Monday, April 8th, which takes us to the borough manager's report.
I don't think I have anything else.
Anybody have anything for Roger? Anything? Jamie? Anthony? Okay, takes us to communications. Never mind, we took care of that. All right, other business. Anybody have anything else?
I will not be here next meeting. will be on vacation.
Good for you.
I'm sorry.
I won't be here. I'm on vacation next meeting.
Oh, the next meeting, okay. Thank you.
Be with, right? Okay. Mayor, you got anything?
What?
Yeah, respectfully, thank you, everybody, for giving me the appointment. I look forward to serving the residents of the borough and hopefully for everybody else to hear, thank you for coming out to look for the appointment and appreciate all the interest. Thank you again.
Welcome aboard. Anything? Joe?
Good.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Nancy? Other than you're leaving us? Jane?
I'm good.
Anthony?
Yeah, I got some. What's like the status with that hearing, filing with that liquor? He filed something and has
Yeah,
anything gone on yet with that?
He filed an appeal for,
Right.
for the council's denial decision. Joselle's entered her appearance in the case, so now we just wait
So now it's wait.
court schedule in the court system, yeah.
And he already had his hearing with Judge Warner, correct?
No,
Doesn't go there.
this goes right to county court.
No, with the snow. Remember?
Yeah,
got
he
fined?
lost.
Yes, yeah, he lost.
Good to know.
Okay, so now it's just waiting game, and then we'll see about, because I know you mentioned about, what actions we might have to take, so you'll all let us know. Okay. Cool, just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yep.
I'm not sure that we will need to take any action. It's now just up to the court.
Well, no,
Joselle in the court.
it was just that, like, if we go, because they were saying that in Lebanon County, the borough has to pay for so much, but if we were like in Lancaster County, say, then we might not have to take on such costs. Is that correct?
Well, the only,
For the
the only
liquor
cost you're gonna have is for your
Yeah.
solicitor to represent us
Yeah.
during the case.
Right. But wasn't it something like if this was like in a different county, perhaps like Lancaster, for instance, we probably wouldn't have to, just with certain rules or structures they have?
I'm not aware, I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay. I was just curious to
Yeah, I
see
think
where that
it's
was
like out
going.
of our hands now.
Right.
Okay, Brenda, Roger, anything else?
I don't.
Okay. Takes us to public comment period number 2.
Oh, jeez, he shot right out of that chair.
Please state your name and address for the record and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Don Barry, 711 North Grand Street. Let's back up to 9C.
Something creative.
As the man with Mr. Melrose Development, does he now have a good interest rate and is going to develop the place, or what's going on there that we're giving him his agreements?
Yeah, the recording of the plan and the agreements and the financial security were the last things left. Last 2 years, they kind of left it sit. Now he's in a hurry to get started developing, so they made the decision to move forward, and they're moving forward.
Well, we have a little problem with him. During this last rain, his silt washed down onto the road, into the neighbor's property, built a small dam, and spread the water out all over the properties in the mud. He was up there mowing in that much mud yesterday. I'd like to see him put his silt protection up there now that they've been tromping through it for the last few months with trucks and what have you, haphazardly. I've seen vehicles go up into that field. Don't know what they're doing, but it's every now and then when we're looking. I don't know if they're doing anything or if that's even them, but there's something running off the hill that we never had that problem. We've had corn cobs and wheat, whatever washing in our yards, but this is mud and silt coming through that hole now.
Will you look into that?
And if we so do get a sinkhole up there, I just wonder if the agreement now is to put orange fence around it and keep expanding it when it gets bigger.
Well, I know where that's directed.
Until a small child falls in it because their parents don't know they're in the backyard playing. Because that's what's going on in the Weaver's sinkhole thing there. That's BS, that he's getting away with that particular hole has been there, what, a year now?
No.
Oh, the hell it hasn't.
No.
It's been there since before September.
No,
Oh, yeah.
not this one,
Oh, yeah, it has.
not this one. There's been a different one.
It's been there.
There was a different one.
I see it every day. It's there.
So do I. Well, you can look, because if you look at the grass, you can see where the other sinkholes have been. I don't know that there's ever been a sinkhole that reopened. It's a different one. There's a couple.
Is it there in the center?
It's off to it's closer to the railroad tracks in the center,
That was in
but,
my yard. I have to repair it tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't
So
you?
it's BS.
Why wouldn't
Well,
you?
I'm not arguing with that,
And it's not your fault.
no. Well,
That's been there for years, because I remember when they first put that in there,
It opens up more and more.
it goes all the way along the railroad, underneath the road.
It's-
It's open for months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one has
it
been
has
open
been
for a
open
while.
for a while, yes. I will grant you that. I don't know that it's since September.
It's been a while.
That's true. And actually, that property is going to be under the homeowners association, so eventually.
Anybody else for public comment? Switch my page. Anybody else, public comment? Going once? Going twice? Closing public comment, period number 2. Borough Council will conduct its next public meetings on Tuesday, April 30th. Tuesday, April 30th, 2024, due to primary election conflict on Thursday, April 23rd, Tuesday, April 23rd, and Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, beginning at 7 PM. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.